Hey, Susan. You okay? What's up?
Can you guys still hear me? My screen just did something strange.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, that's good. I don't know. I just clicked something, the wrong thing, and I'm seeing, I don't know, my screen looks different, but that's all good. As long as you can hear me, and I think it looks like the video is working, so that's all good. I hope everybody's doing well. Looks like, is there a question? Yeah, there's a question. Erica is asking, I just submitted the paper. There were molecular tests. I thought the last part describing it, if it's good, only applied if there were not tests. Oh, right. Yes. Okay, right. Those 5 questions. So yeah, you do want to address those, whether or not your disease is a good candidate for molecular tests. If you didn't do that in the first draft, that's okay. I'll just make a note on it to remind you to do it for the final. Yeah. Okay. It looks like I got most of the drafts I'm seeing uploaded in Blackboard, which is great. So my goal is to try to get those back to you with comments in a week or so. It takes a while, so I'll just try to do it as fast as I can. But meanwhile, pretty much immediately, I'm really suggesting that you get started finding articles for parts 4 and 5. So I'm really trying to limit what else we're doing, you know, as at the same time that you guys are working on the paper. There is that one assignment that's called assignment 4.2. I switched the deadline from Thursday to Saturday because we've been told really clearly, don't make anything due on the gentle days. So that's fine. But if you are working on a complex disease, I really want to urge you to take a look at that assignment 4.2 because it talks about genome-wide association studies, which is the way that a lot of genes have been identified with diseases for complex diseases. So that's just going to be a helpful assignment to kind of just go through. It's only 6 questions, but it also just has some good information, I think, that's just going to help you. And that's the very first thing you're doing in section 4 is talking about mapping and identifying the gene that's causing or contributing to your disease. So let me know again if you get stuck finding articles. Has anyone had success getting interlibrary loan articles? Can you let us know? I haven't actually tested it, so I just wanted to make sure that that really is working. Has anyone actually? Somebody has? Who's that? I can't.
Yep, Emily.
Emily, great. There we are. Now I can see. It shows your initials when you're talking.
Yes.
Okay, so that's good to know. Oh, okay. And Susan said she got a bunch too. Okay, great. So I'm just glad to hear that's still working or is working. I mean, like it should be. Because I think that's going to be especially important as you switch from looking maybe mostly at review articles to now for sections 4 and 5, looking for primary research articles because you're going to be looking for experiments. Okay. All right, I'm gonna try out a joke. Ready? Because I think we need jokes because this is like difficult, right? All right. So you can rate my jokes. They're not my jokes, like I stole them, right, from somewhere else. So it's okay if you don't like them. I have a couple. These are all social distancing pickup lines. Since all the public libraries are closed, I'm checking you out instead. What do we think? Good? Not good? Medium?
Good one.
Pretty good. All right, not bad. 10 out of 10. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's tough times though, right? So we're probably generous in our scoring. You can't spell virus without you and I.
Oh boy.
These are like weirdo Valentine's things, right? Like maybe those little candies, those heart candies, maybe they're gonna have like new phrases as we go forward. I like this one. Baby, do you need toilet paper? because I can be your Prince Charming. I like that one. Okay, here's one more. I saw you from across the bar. Stay there.
Oh my gosh.
All right, those are my jokes. Anybody have any other jokes they want to share? You can come with jokes or memes or what's a good TV show you're using for diversion? Anybody got anything good to share?
I'm
I feel
watching
like,
The Office on repeat.
oh, The Office? Uh-huh, that's good.
Everybody should go watch Tiger King.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
started watching that.
Oh, what do you guys think of Tiger King? I watched the first 2 episodes.
You have to watch
Wait
more.
till you get to the end.
Oh, it is the weirdest thing.
Oh my gosh.
For those who don't know, so a friend of mine told me everybody's watching Tiger King, so I have to watch it. So I'm like, okay. So, I got a little bit of time at home. So I watched it with my family and my son who's 15. He was it was a little too much for him because like right these crazy people who raise these big cats, they're kind of terrible people, aren't they? How do we
Oh
describe
yeah.
those people? What are the adjectives?
He's just nuts. All of them are.
Yeah.
Kinda
Yeah.
just a massive coal.
Yes, total cult, total cult. Yeah, if you haven't watched it and you're looking for something really unusual, yeah, you could. It's on Netflix, right? I think it was on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Fair warning, the last 2 episodes get somewhat dark. Um, so just be careful. But
Yeah, my son decided he was done, so thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the cult part of it, and like the one guy was it in South Carolina, Doc Ant, what is his name? Doc
Yes, Doc Antle.
Antle. He's got this like harem of young girls. It was just so appalling and awful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, anyway, that was the part like, yeah, he was like, nope, I'm done.
Aw.
I know, he's only 15. All right. All right. What's better than Ozark? Sam says Ozark. Okay. What's Ozark about, Sam? Unmute yourself. Tell us about it.
So I just started getting into it because my parents and actually the rest of my family was watching it while I was away at college.
Ah,
But it has a lot to do with like drug cartels, and like the law enforcement is kind of into it as well, like selling and distributing. It's really interesting.
cool. Interesting. Anybody have anything else they recommend? Nothing else good? Grey's Anatomy and Supernatural. Okay, Grey's Anatomy is an old show. I know that one. What's Supernatural?
So Supernatural is like I guess it it follows the story of basically two brothers but also their family. And it assumes that different monsters like ghosts and shapeshifters and werewolves and things are real, and they make it very realistic. And they're part of their like the family business is um is hunting these things and protecting people. Um, but there's also a lot of like family background and problems that they go through as a family and they get over. So it's super cool.
Cool.
Very entertaining.
Where do you find that one?
That is also on Netflix. They have all but the last season, which is not done airing yet. So
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna need the many seasons and the many shows of all these different things. Anybody else have anything entertaining, diverting, trying to, capture your attention away from the news? Oh, motivation tips. Yeah, we could share more of those. We had a couple, right? Like, did we do that? Like, was that already? I don't remember. Like, was that last week? We tried to share some motivation tips, but I think it was more like kind of coping generally. I think the motivation is super hard. Yeah, anybody have tips? How are you staying motivated? You guys managed to get that draft done. You're not. That's honest. Yeah. You know what? I'm struggling too because I'm supposed to be working on my research as well as the teaching. So I'm motivated to try to get things up for you guys because that's a like clearly defined part of my job. Yeah, it's hard. But there's other things that are like less clearly defined or like seem like extra things. Like I know I should do more in this area, but like I can't do it in the way I usually do it. I think it's really hard. I guess one thing I was thinking about is like trying to is like I told you guys, I also have an older son who's home from college. He's also struggling for real. um, and I'm like, okay, it's like however many more weeks. I think we have 5 more weeks. Is that right? Something like that. I think we have like about 5 more weeks. Here, I'll look at the syllabus. Something, let's see. So today's the 31st. So this week, I guess, sort of counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 more weeks of class. So in terms of the school part, right? I mean, 5 weeks, you guys can do it. I mean, you'll get through. But I don't know, for me, like, I don't know, hopefully you guys are still staying optimistic, looking forward. I think it's hard when it's uncertain, what's going to happen. I feel like that's really hard, but you got to stay a little bit optimistic. Eventually, it's going to get better. We just don't know when, right?
I have like a practical suggestion. I don't know if anyone else has tried this, but I'm someone who has to like stick to a specific schedule. So I lay out all the work that I need to do in a day and then set times in between to like reward myself for like doing something like watching a TV show or like going out for a walk or something. That's kind of helped. Obviously, it'll never be the same as just like not or like having our normal lives as we did before, but it gets my work done. So I find it helpful.
That's great, Sam. I think that is like a really, really good suggestion if you can do it. But I think giving yourself little rewards, it helps. Um, I've also seen suggestions for like setting a timer for like 25 minutes and then like working for 25 minutes. And then when your timer goes off, you get like 5 minutes to like just relax for like a quick, I don't know, whatever you guys look at. My son likes to look at Reddit, whatever, whatever diversion, or text with a girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, whatever. But sometimes chunking it like into smaller bits, like 25 minutes or whatever is good for you. Make it 15 minutes, to try to focus. That can help too. Anybody have any other suggestions? All right.
I've been things down a lot more, especially what's due when and for what class, because not having the face-to-face interaction, I kind of lose that more permanent reminder. So that's been pretty helpful for me to stay on track too.
Yeah. I think I can imagine like the need to just keep a really good calendar or planner or whatever you need to do, sticky notes, whatever works for you to kind of keep track of everything and when you want to get stuff done. Yeah, good suggestion. Okay, I'm gonna try to share my screen. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, okay, so hang on just a sec. I told you I did something strange with my screen. And, oh, there we go. Okay, so let me pull up, I just want to pull up the one document with the tips of where to find information, just to kind of talk about those next sections that are coming ahead. So where did that go? Hang on just a sec. There we go. All right. All right, so you guys can see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm just gonna scroll down to part 4, just kind of, because this is our next coming attraction, right? That assignment I was talking about. It's labeled assignment 4-2, but again, it's not due till Saturday, which is April 4th. But again, the reason that I was talking about earlier, that it would be good to do as soon as you can, especially if you're working on a complex disease where genome-wide association studies were used to either, to identify the gene that you're going to be working on. So it's because it's part A, right, of like the mapping, right, how the causative genes are identified. The first part is the mapping. So these parts, these and methods that I've listed above here. So I'm suggesting that depending on the disease, you may find one or more of these different PowerPoints helpful, right? For some of you, if you're working on a monogenic disease, then the 319 PowerPoint where, we talk about pedigrees and how LOD scores work, that might be helpful. For others of you, if you're going to talk about mapping the gene to a chromosome, somatic cell hybridization is a really commonly used method. You may see it mentioned in OMIM. So that second PowerPoint from 331, it's only 8 minutes. That's a really helpful one. And then the first PowerPoint from 331, which is now posted, is the one that goes right along with the assignment labeled 4-2. So that talks about a couple of different approaches, not using pedigrees, not using LOD scores necessarily, but how do you map these complex disease genes? And you may actually want to go first to see what they say about how your gene was mapped, and then say, okay, I'm going to talk about whichever kind of experiment, and then you can kind of go back and review whichever of those methods makes sense for you. So I just wanted to try to explain that. Does anybody have any questions on that? If you do have questions when you kind of get into it, just let me know. Okay, so again, I just also wanted to kind of remind you guys about the total number of references. So the total number for the whole paper for undergraduates, it's 8. For grad students, it's 10. And then of the 8 for undergrads, 4 of those papers need to be primary research articles. And this is the section where you're really going to need those because you're describing an experiment for mapping. For part B, describe an experiment for cloning. And then for part C, you're going to describe 2 experiments that confirmed the gene. That might be 4 different primary research articles. It may also be not that many, right? Sometimes you'll see a single paper clones a gene and confirms it. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be 4 different papers, but it might be. And we haven't even talked about part 5. Yes, you can definitely have more than 8 references. Yeah, so it's a minimum number of papers. So in past years, most students have more than 8. It's pretty easy to get to that minimum number once you start moving on to these next sections of the papers. So yeah, you can have as many references as you need to have. That's fine. Any other questions about references or kind of as we look at this section 4? All right, I'm not seeing any questions. Again, I think once you get into it, if you do have questions, people have been emailing me, and if they need help finding a paper, I'm happy to help. So if you get stuck in any way, just email, reach out, and I'm really, really happy to help you find papers. Oh, for review articles, again, there's not a maximum number. So let me just say that again more clearly, and it's written down in your research paper overview, but that's like an 8-page document. So I'll just remind or tell you now. So for undergrads, you need a minimum of 8 total, a minimum of 4 primary research articles. So that means there's no minimum number of review articles, and there's definitely not a maximum number. For grad students, you want 10 total, at least 6 have to be primary research articles. And again, like the remainder could be review articles, but you can have as many review articles as you want. So yeah, no maximums in any for any type of article. Okay. What else did I want to tell you guys? Did everybody see, since we have so many graduating seniors, did you see the plans for August graduation? What do you guys think about that? You think you'll participate?
It just makes it a little weird because like I was supposed to already have an apartment up there still, but now I won't.
Right. I know.
Probably gonna have to get like a hotel room or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So some excitement, but some of you will no doubt be definitely out of Mount Pleasant and maybe kind of far away. So yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah, I'm just reading through your comments. Yeah, I think it's great the president is trying to like kind of give you something like, like some acknowledgement like, hey, we want to celebrate your accomplishments with you. But I think it is clearly not as good as having regular graduation, but we are stuck with what we can do. And I think it's a good idea to think of your own way to celebrate once all of your classes are over too. I think that's a great idea. Um, any other comments? Any other new challenges people are running into just in general? All right, I'm gonna stop sharing document. Okay, well, I think that was all on my agenda. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to ask about or make suggestions for how things are going for our class? Okay, as always, if you think of something, feel free to let me know. So we will not have WebEx on Thursday, like as a regular scheduled thing, because it's a gentle day, but I'm always available for like a one-on-one short WebEx. I had at least one or two yesterday, during office hours. So feel free to ask for one of those. I'm happy to do that. It's really easy to set up. So it could just be a one-on-one. Or send me questions by email as you work on sections 4 and 5. So otherwise, we'll just plan to meet again next Monday. I'll do regular office hours again, like just having it open. Yesterday I had a conflict. They're interviewing candidates for the vice president of research position, so I needed to like WebEx into that. So that's why I did the office hours a little bit differently yesterday. But next week we can go back to the other way. And you'll see things posted for next week already, so you can look at the new PowerPoint that's posted for 4.7 on molecular pathology whenever it's convenient. Okay? Well, I hope you guys have a good day and try to stay motivated and a little optimistic about something. Thanks, everyone.
I did have a question. I was waiting for
everyone to get off, so I didn't have to schedule like an actual office hour on the top
Yeah,
of it.
sure,
But,
Jane.
So, this week I couldn't tune in because I had to work. I've been working a lot more lately since the pandemic. But for the paper, are you gonna provide feedback for it?
On these drafts?
Yes.
Yeah. Usually quite a lot. I mean, if everything's great, then I'll tell you that, and then you know you don't need to make changes. But if I think there's anything you need to add, I'll tell you that.
Okay. I was just like didn't know how much in depth I need to be for like, I don't know, the different kinds of diagnosis tests or whatever. Just I didn't know how much stuff to include. I didn't know if it was all necessary because I was worried about going over the 4 pages or whatever because I still have to add in the stuff for part 4 and 5.
Right.
I didn't want
Yeah.
to go over the 8, so I was just like a little bit cautious there. So I don't know, just any feedback is good, I guess. Every professor is a little bit different in what they want too. So
Right. Yeah, no, that's the whole point of the draft is that's exactly it. I'll let you know. The other thing is it is hard to know sometimes how long to have those sections until you write the next part, right?
Yeah.
So you may find that after you write sections 4 and 5, you may go back and you may decide to cut some things, or you may say, oh gosh, parts 4 and 5 aren't as long as I thought they'd be, so now I can add some more back there.
okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit like iterative, right? Like you just can, make your best guess for right now, perfectly good, and then kind of revisit that.
Okay. And then also the safe assign said that it was like 36% like plagiarized, but I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense because I wrote it twice to make sure that I didn't have any plagiarism. And then when I clicked on it, I mostly had like my sources highlighted, like two
Yep.
lines like within my paper. So is that not a big deal?
Right. So the number doesn't really mean very much in safe assign, unless I guess if it was like 100 or something. But yeah, you did exactly the right thing. Like if you click in and kind of drill down to see what it's picking up, it's always going to pick up the references, and of course that doesn't count. So with a relatively short paper, that's going to be a large percent, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
was just like blown away that 36. And I was like, literally typed that twice to make sure that I didn't have that issue. So, okay. And then from like a genetic standpoint, but like more as like a pre-med student, I'm a little bit nervous because I was supposed to, or I was planning to, I never actually scheduled it, but the MCAT, I was going to take it at the end of this semester, May 29th or something, there was a date. And I know that they've been canceling a lot of them, and I don't know how that will affect the, application cycle and interviews. I didn't know if you have heard anything about that.
Yeah, let me pull up real quick. I have my other computer sitting here. Let me pull this up. Yeah, the pre-med advisors have been trying to share information with each other. And let me just, I knew the MCATs had been canceled, and let me just see did anybody know anything? Let's see. All right, in this email, it said that AMC was communicating directly with students impacted by canceling the MCAT. Let's see. So I think, here we go. We recognize this is an issue that affects students, not just for admissions starting in June, but for the 4 to 5 years of potential student applicants. Everyone's working to make sure we consider students in all aspects of the process. And there's a lot of discussion, and there should be some document soon to kind of help clarify what the med schools are going to do.
Okay.
So basically it's saying, yep, we know there's an issue, right? So stay tuned. But I'll keep asking about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I was concerned about like the credit, no credit thing, but Amber Schneider kind of cleared that up a bit.
yeah. Well, so I got her email also because she shares all her stuff with us too. And I feel like I think for most students, the conservative thing to do would be to for any class that's a prereq to make sure you're getting a grade. But there
Yeah.
are schools like CMU and interesting, the University of Michigan are saying it's okay if those are pass fail. So,
Yeah.
right, so some of the med schools are saying we're going to be really understanding, but others like Wayne State were saying things like we really want to see grades.
Yeah. I
So
saw
if you
that.
want to, yeah, if you want to keep all the doors open, right, like you would go with the grades. But again, these are specifically for prereq classes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would view like bio electives. Like, I don't know if Wayne State being kind of more, I don't know what the right word is, but wanting the grades, I don't know if that extends to the electives that much.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too because mostly it was towards prereqs, which makes sense, I suppose. But I'm only taking electives this semester because I'm a senior. I don't know. I've already gotten all the prereqs out of the way. So
Right.
should I just take them credit, no credit, and just like try to save myself the hassle in the end? But it is nice that we can see our grades before we make that final decision. I'm just nervous that at that point, maybe the school's going to be overwhelmed with it and then it doesn't get approved. Something, I don't know.
Well, I think we're going to make sure that if students, so it's an interesting process. I think it's great that you'll see the grade first, right? That's the way it should be. Otherwise, how can you know? And then whether or not like the class, it's supposed to go through the department chairs, like whether or not it's approved. So like our department chair asked us, the faculty, like, do you want your class to go that way? And I'm like, sure, like if that's fine. I mean, given our circumstances, I don't care if you guys take it past, end up switching it to pass fail or credit, no credit.
Okay.
Not a problem. But I'm going to go back to Amber and ask her to ask the schools about electives because there's going to be a whole bunch of students who want to know about that in particular.
Yeah.
Like science electives. I feel like that's a good question. So
Yeah.
we have some time. Yeah, we have some time to get that answer. So I think
Okay.
we should be able to get some feedback from them on that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just don't want schools to look at my transcript and say like, "Oh, well, during this pandemic, they, ended up taking credit, no credit." Like maybe they, I don't know, can't handle it. And I know a lot of med schools right now are switching to online, so for like the first semester or something. So I don't know if that will, sway their decision at all if something like this were to happen again.
Right.
I don't know.
Honestly, like, yeah, I think everyone's going to be revising how they're looking at all these different things. Like everything has changed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will try to get that answer for you, Jamie.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay, bye-bye.